So today's video is a little different. I'm pulling back the curtain and sharing our family's investment plan for 2026. So this is how my husband and I are investing our money and the philosophy behind our strategy. Now, I want to be very clear upfront. I am not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. This is just what we're doing with our money. So your situation might be different. So always do your own research and consider speaking to a professional. But I'm just sharing this because I think it's helpful to see real life examples of how real families are investing their money. So nothing complicated, no get rich quick schemes, just very simple, consistent investing habits that builds wealth over time. So let's dive into my family's 2026 plan. So, all right, let's start with where we're actually investing our money. We have two main buckets when it comes to our investment. The first bucket is the retirement account, and the second bucket is the brokerage account. So for our retirement account, I have a TSP account, which is the Thrift Savings Plan. The TSP is a military version of a 401k. My husband also has a Roth 401k through his employer. So for our strategy for both of those retirement accounts is so simple, like very simple. The goal is to invest 100% of the contributions in the S&P 500. So for my TSP, I'm currently invested in the C fund, which is the fund that tracks the S&P 500. For my husband's 401k, he is currently invested in the S&P 500. His plan offers through Fidelity. So he has a Fidelity S&P fund. So why S&P? So S&P 500 gives you exposure to the 500 largest US companies. Companies like Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Google, Berkshire Hathaway, and so on. These are the companies that drive the American economy. And historically, the S&P has returned about 10% annual return in the long term. And my husband and I are in our 30s, so we have about 20 to 30 years until retirement. So we can handle any ups and downs, and our main focus is growth and to accumulate in this time period of our life. Is it aggressive? Yes. Is it risky having everything in stocks? Sure. But we're okay with that volatility because we have decades for that money to grow, and we would not need that money until retirement. Our second bucket dimension is the brokerage account. So outside of our retirement accounts, we also invest in a regular taxable brokerage account. This money is money we plan to access before retirement. For example, I'll be retiring in the military in a couple of years. So the gap between my retirement and the official government's retirement is what we plan on allocating into the brokerage retirement, so that we can have access to some funds when we officially retire. Then in this fund, our goal is to invest 90% of that into the total stock market and 10% into Bitcoin. So for the total stock market, our current brokerage account that we invest with is Schwab. So we use Schwab, but you can always find an equivalent of this fund I'm about to mention in other brokerage companies like Fidelity or Vanguard. So for us specifically, we're using SWTSX, which is the Schwab Total Stock Market Index Fund. So this fund is where 90% of the allocation for the brokerage account will go. The fund holds about 3,000 US companies, from big corporations down to small companies. So the total stock market fund is more diversified than the S&P 500, and the expense ratio is very low at 0.03%, which means basically very low fees. Then we have 10% in our of our portfolio will go to Bitcoin. This is our speculative allocation. So we believe in long-term potential of cryptocurrencies, but we're just keeping it to 10% because it's volatile and it's risky. So if it goes to zero, which it probably wouldn't in my opinion, we will survive. If it does well, then great. So, but we're not betting, our whole future on cryptocurrency. We also have our children's accounts, but I will make a separate video addressing that in future videos. So why this simple strategy? Why does it work? So why do we think this plan will work? This plan is tried and tested. Why are we confident in the approach? first. It's very simple. So we're not trying to outsmart the market or pick the next winning stock like Nvidia or Tesla. And we're not constantly rebalancing or switching strategies. The plan is to keep it simple, like very simple and easy to stick with in the long term. The second is that it's low cost. So the S&P 500 and the total stock market we have, they have very low expense ratio, under 0.05. So we're keeping almost all our returns instead of paying higher fees to, for example, an investment manager or fund manager. The third is that it's proven that the S&P 500 has grown wealth reliably for decades. So the total market fund captures the entire US economy. So these are not new or experimental strategies. These are time-tested investment plans to follow. The fourth is that it's consistent. So we invest every month into, no matter what, either the bear market, the bull market, we're buying. So if it's the whatever market, we're buying. So this removes the emotion from trying to invest, and it keeps us disciplined. And then fifth is that it's aligned with our values. So we plan on no debt and living below our means and being generous. So these are just financial strategies. They're a reflection of what we believe and how we want to live. So that's our family's investing plan for 2026. So let me recap real quick. Our account is in retirement, and for the retirement account is 100% in S&P 500 for the TSPC fund and my husband's 401k. And in the brokerage account, we have 90% in the total stock market fund, SWTSX, and 10% in Bitcoin. Is the plan perfect? Probably not. Could we optimize it for more and more gains? Maybe, but it works for us and we're sticking to it. So the key to actually wealth building isn't having the perfect strategy. It's you having a good strategy that you can actually follow for decades. Consistency always beats perfection every single time. Consistency always beats perfection every time. So whatever your plan is, whether it looks like ours or if it's completely different, the most important thing is that you have one and you stick with it. So if you found this very helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comment what your investing plan for 2026 is. I would love to hear it. And if you're not already subscribed, please hit that button for more investment money content. Thank you for watching and have a great 2026. Happy New Year, and let's build wealth together. Thank you.